Welcome back. The U.S. Customs and Border Protection is warning the public not to engage with phone calls from scammers claiming to be one of their agents. The agency says that it's gotten complaints about people getting unsolicited calls from scammers. According to those complaints, the fake CBP agents would claim to have received drugs with the person's name on it, and if they didn't give up their personal information, agents would come to their home. This, of course, comes as fears of deportation is at an all-time high for millions of migrants here in the U.S.
Both the Department of Homeland Security and the CBP say that they never request money or Social Security numbers over the phone. The agency says anyone who receives a phony call should immediately hang up and contact the Federal Trade Commission online to file a report.
Our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes, joining us now to talk about these scams and what you can do if you become a victim. Khalif, unfortunately, we always see this when something becomes in the news, right? Scammers hop on this. Obviously, immigration is a hot topic. So what do you do if you're on the receiving end of these and you maybe fall guilty and give away your information?
Hang up, obviously. That's the first thing you do. But if you ultimately give them some information, I mean, it's really hard to roll that back. I mean, once the cat's out the bag, once you open that box, once they have your personal information, specifically any identifying information that they can use to, open accounts in your name, get access to further information. I mean, because all they're trying to do is get a little bit. And if I can get a little bit, then I can maybe get some more information, and they start calling from different agencies. But this isn't something new. 2023, the same agency said the exact same thing, that folks were doing this scam. I think right now, as you mentioned, it's just heightened because folks are now really, really sensitive about what's happening with the Customs and Border Patrol, and for good reason. Where you have on the one side, folks are saying, listen, if you attempt to stop, if you attempt to, interfere with us arresting or detaining folks, then now you can be in some type of criminal process. Now there's a heightened sense of, okay, is this real? Do I need to figure out? Should I verify? And those are all the things that you're not doing in that real moment. And these scammers know that. Scammers recognize that fear is something that motivates people to talk. And if you're threatening to arrest or come after them or seize money, and that's some of the things that they're saying, then folks are going to do whatever they got to do to stop that. And then you're really not thinking, wait, is this a real person? That's probably part of the process. To maybe the first thing that I would advise, not the best legal advice, but just to pause, wait, slow down, and then try to figure out where do I go from here. Because if it's legitimate, they're going to come there with a warrant. They're going to come there with something that a document that's court approved, as opposed to I'm just calling you, asking you to deliver something over the phone.
Some of these scammed calls are just getting smarter and smarter, whether they're using AI on the other end or what, I don't know, but they sound believable. The names they use, the information they use, they really can kind of scare someone on the other end. How does law enforcement track down scammers like this, especially if they're coming from overseas or bots or something like that?
I think that's going to also be complicated because this agency right here, the Customs and Border Patrol, they're not going to say, okay, thank you for letting us know that there's this scam that's running around, and then we'll have to do it. There have to be some interagency working, ensuring that agencies aren't siloed off. And if there is some type of report like this, typically it would be to an attorney general that you'd recognize that this is an issue that's happening in your state. They would investigate it and then have some other type of agency work with it. So it'd be a multi-level investigation that would have to occur, and not going to Border Patrol, because I guarantee of the 65,000 employees that they have working for them, they're Border Patrol agents, they're not trained to figure out scams that are happening from overseas or they're AI based. What they are trained to do is stop folks from coming into the country illegally and try to find a way to counter that, not try to stop scams. But the first thing we do would be call them to verify and to figure out if these individuals who called you, like the one lady in our state, she said they gave her a name, a case number, an identification, and it all turned out to be fake. So those are the types of things that you want. But when you're targeting, seniors, when you're targeting folks that aren't thinking to slow down, that's probably the problem.
Well, so when we talk, scams are not a new thing. And you mentioned a lot of them come from overseas. They're very hard to track down, let alone prosecute. But are there any charges added, or does it get worse if you impersonate a federal agent?
100%. I mean, that's the automatic felony right there.
Right.
So impersonation of a federal agent is a felony. So but catching the folks, it's kind of like in civil court. I may be able to get a judgment against someone that doesn't have any money, but I can't do anything with that. So, but if you can get a judgment against someone that has means, that has resources, then now I can get that judgment and they can pay me. It's the exact same thing like this. Yeah, going out and trying to find these folks, yeah, there's this felony hanging over their head, but if they're a million miles away, it really doesn't matter. The goal isn't really that protection on the front end, and this is, I think, what Customs and Border Patrol has done. Listen, we're never calling you, we're not asking you for information. If we want to come find you, we know how to find you. Those are the things that they're saying, and they're repeating that to let folks recognize that you don't have to give your information to folks that are out just hanging out there trying to find you.
Again, our chief legal analyst, Khalif Rhodes, with that. Again, good advice. If you see the phone ringing and they say it's CBP, hang up.
Yep.
It's not them.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.